Good afternoon. We're back with more Marvel Champions. Continuing our hero spotlight for Vision. Today will be Vision versus Venom Goblin on expert difficulty. Venom Goblin is an easier scenario for Vision. He can tread water against Venom Goblin nearly indefinitely because Bring It has high value against the symbiotes that come out, and it helps you to maintain your life total on Vision. And none of the symbiotes really have enough damage to do anything to Vision, so you can really hang around on this one almost as long as you need to find Shadow of the Past in the enemy encounter deck and then defeat the villain. Again, it's probably not how the developers intended for Vision to be played, but it is highly effective, and we will demonstrate that here. So we'll get out Ironheart and draw a card. Now I'm reconsidering how I want to pay for Ironheart, because I think I want to play Throg as well. No toughness for Throg, but that's fine. Each of these allies, really, their only purpose is to chump block. And we'll thwart. Vision can do a pretty good job of keeping the threat down on the three main schemes using his reboot and his normal thwart, and if needed, his solar beam. So we need to move the glider counter, place one threat, and then after Vision activates, we move the glider counter and discard a card. And then we're going to have 3 encounter cards incoming. A pretty nasty side scheme. I may have missed the when revealed effect on the... Oh no, I didn't. I think I need to discard another card for Joyride, which is fine. And then we get Shadow of the Past right away, so this is going to be a pretty quick and easy game. Shadow of the Past in the first 3 cards is ideal. It doesn't happen that often. It's going to be 1 in 10 or less. But when it does happen with this deck, it means easy. Easy game. So I think I forgot to do a discard for Joyride, but that discard would end up being Angela, because Angela is a card that I don't end up playing anyway. There it goes. There I realized that Joyride needed a discard. So I'm debating whether I want to use Bring It here or not, or whether I want to wait for another turn. Ideally, I'd like to wait long enough to guarantee another Bring It draw, but I don't want to wait so long that Bring It's end up as Ultron drones. So my best guess about when to play Bring It is maybe like 5 cards, 5 minions out. So I'm skipping through things here. But of course, after the villain attacks, each of the minions will attack. So when Ultron attacks, I add another drone. Each of the minions will attack Vision, which does nothing because he's intangible. So Ultron attacks for 2, drone for 1, symbiote for 2. None of them do anything because Vision reduces each attack by 2. And then the Ultron attack brings another drone into play. So we got 3 side schemes here, but I got two copies of Solar Beam and a Bring It, so I can draw 5, so I have the ability to take care of all of these problems without too much issue. We'll get rid of the Joyride and get rid of the Festering Mass. That can be a problem because it operates as a symbiote environment. The Symbiotic Monstrosity is terrifying minion to deal with when you're not simply ignoring it. So I'm going to wait one more turn to play Bring It. It's a little greedy. I could have played it this turn. And here I think I realized that I shouldn't have discarded a card last round. I should have dealt 2 indirect damage, so now I'm figuring out how to resolve that. I don't take back the card that I think I discarded, but I do need to deal the indirect damage to vision and change the location of the glider counter. There we go. Got it all straightened out. Though I still owe one more indirect damage, but I figure that out in a moment. And here I'm debating where I want to put the glider counter, probably just on Upper Manhattan again. So we got another drone coming in. Master Plan adds 4 threat to Ultron Unleashed. And now we're going to bring it for 6 card draw. Got 2 more bring its, that's ideal. Get Nick Fury in, draw 3. We've got to deal with the Enraged Symbiote because it's in the way of dealing damage. So I actually needed to do the Enraged Symbiote before I do any threat reduction because it has patrol. But, so yeah, there should be 2 more threat on the scheme, and Nick Fury should have dealt damage to the symbiote. Or have Hercules do it first and then do the thwarting later. There's a lot of little things that are hard to keep track of when you're playing this particular Vision deck because there's so many options going on, so much going on. So many cards on the table to keep track of that little things end up falling by the wayside. But in this case, with Shadow of the Past coming out so early, there's nothing that would have affected the outcome because we never really get even close to losing with Shadow of the Past coming out turn 1. And again, that happens less than 1 in 10 times. I'd say probably about 1 in 5 times you get Shadow of the Past out in plenty of time. You have a lot more leeway with Venom Goblin though, because you can tread water for a long time. So this particular Vision deck can do very well against Venom Goblin on Expert with a high win percentage, because his intangible form just neutralizes a lot of what the deck wants to do with the symbiotes, and he's got pretty good thwarting with his just passing through his solar beam. And we can use Bring It to generate resources for those cards. And we've also got a way to deal with the advanced glider relatively easily. 2 ways actually. The only issue that can happen if you get wrapped up, it's pretty bad because we don't have a good way to deal with the stun on Vision, except for Vision's cape. Vision's cape can do it pretty well. Or maybe it's not his cape. It is his cape that gives him stalwart. But you have to do an attack in order to proc that. So you got to get out the cape, and then you've got to wait to play an attack. But you can deal with it that way. If you do the timing wrong, though, you can get yourself in a situation where you can't win. So we haven't seen the advanced glider, which is good. Just passing through, get some damage on Venom Goblin. And as soon as we get the encounter card, which adds 2 more drones, then we'll really be in high gear. As of right now, we're just kind of managing the threat. We have the resources to do that and to get a little damage on Venom Goblin, but nothing significant yet. So that's 1 more drone. And there's Relentless Android. That adds 2 more drones, and as long as we don't now have 2 copies of Bring It in the drones, the game is going to be effectively over. Even with 2 copies in the drones, we'll still have a chance, though it will be challenging. Well, no second copy of Bring It, so getting a little worried at this point. They could both be face down as drones, in which case I'd probably have to use Thor to clear the board. And then I'd have to like reset the drones and keep managing the threat. It would probably extend the game, make it twice as long, but still be winnable. I'm counting my damage to see if I might have lethal damage here, just checking on what the... So I need 31 damage because stage 3 has 21 health. I've got 2 super dense strikes for 10, 2 solar beams for 14, that's 24. I think I'm short of the 31 that I need. So we'll just keep managing the threat. Should get out Vision's cape just in case of wrapped up or some other stun. Gives stalwart when you're in intangible form. Get out Machine Man, which is pretty good in this deck because you often have extra resources on Bring It turns. So we'll do +3 and add his and use his 4 attack to take care of the guard minion. And we don't have a Bring It at this point, so back to treading water a little bit and just hoping that Bring It doesn't end up as a drone. So that's indirect damage, so that's going to get some damage on Vision. Plus Midtown Manhattan will get some damage in. Got another drone. And an enraged symbiote. So we need to take care of that with Blade or Nick Fury before thwarting anymore. Though I forget and thwart anyway. But I think it's simply a matter of the timing here. So there's Nick Fury. Nick Fury could be used on the enraged symbiote, then Vision can thwart no problem. Then there's Bring It. 2 Bring It's actually, so we're set for the rest of the game. That should carry us through to the end. If not this turn, probably we'll just set up for an OTK of stage 3 next turn. So Nick Fury should be used to take care of the enraged symbiote before doing this thwarting. And then you can do the thwart, reboot, thwart, no problem. So you can't use Solar Beam or Super Dense Strike for damage until you're willing to switch to Dense Form. You can't be switching to Dense Form until you're sure it's the final turn, because if you switch to Dense Form, then you can take damage from those minions and they'll wipe you out in 1 turn. So I'm going to use 3 lightning resources here for... So I'll use a Super Dense Strike for reboot instead of the Solar Gem, and then use 3 lightning resources to get Wasp out with 3 HP for some additional damage. And we'll get some healing in. Not sure why I dealt 3 damage to Venom there. There was 3 from the Wasp attack, but I'm not sure where the other 3 came from. But it's not going to matter. So there's a stun on Vision. That's why I got Vision's cape out, because the Stalwart prevents the stun. Yeah, I don't know why I dealt 3 damage twice. I'm sure I had a reason at the time. But it's possible Venom Goblin should be at 7 HP right now instead of 4. Advanced Glider. Terrifying card early, not really a big deal now. I can deal with it with Phase Disruption. So this will likely be the final turn. So we're going to bring it, draw a lot. So there, I think I was supposed to shuffle, I was supposed to bring it in the discard pile before shuffling the deck. Though I'm not sure, maybe you're supposed to resolve it after. I think it's worse for me to shuffle it into the deck because it increases the likelihood that it's going to become a drone by being in the deck. So I may have actually played that incorrectly. It should be, maybe it should be in the discard pile right now. So I'm just counting up my damage. I've got 5 from Super Dense, 7 from Solar Beam, 3 from Vivian, 3 from Thor, 3 from Hercules, 2 from Sunfire, 2 from Marvel Boy if I need it. Don't probably have resources to play all of those. But I'm going to attack for 2 with Multiple Man, or with Machine Man. Draw a card when I flip to Dense form. Use Vision. It's possible that I needed to use Wasp there as well if I accidentally marked off 3 damage twice earlier. So if I just use Wasp there as well this round, then we'd end up being the same result. And I would just need 21 damage without the assistance of Wasp, which I don't think is going to be an issue. So 5 damage there from Super Dense. We can do, with Piercing, we can do 7 damage here with the Solar Beam. Using the Solar Gem and 2 other resources, we just need 9 more, and we're marking off the Retaliate damage there. So we'll see if we could still do the 9 without the assistance of Wasp, if it should have been necessary. 3 from Hercules. 3 from Vivian. She gets +2 when Vision's in Dense form. And then I could have done 3 with Thor as well, which I have the resources to pay for. So no issue whether I accidentally marked off double damage the previous turn or not. If I should have needed the game to continue, there would have been no issue with that. None of the quests are very close to completing. I have another Bring It in hand. I have Phase Disruption to deal with the Advanced Glider. So even if this game needed 2 or 3 more turns to complete, it would have been no problem. But you can see how powerful this deck is when you get that 1 in 10 and the Shadows of the Past comes out early. There's just no beating it. Heroic 1 difficulty I don't think would have been a problem on this one. This deck is likely capable of beating Heroic 1 difficulty on Ronin as well, if you get Shadow of the Past very early. It is an incredibly powerful deck, as you are playing the game in a way that I don't think the developers intended, and could potentially get errated at some point. If they errated Bring It to, say, maximum 3 cards drawn, probably would bring it in line with other cards, but it's been out for a while, hasn't been errated. It came out in the Drax Hero Pack. So, incredibly strong deck, capable of taking on any of the content in the game. Only the second deck that was spotlighted, the second hero was spotlighted, that is capable of doing that, the first being Star-Lord, and I don't anticipate that we'll end up with more than 4 or 5. Ideally, I would prefer that there be more. I would like it if maybe 25% of the champions in the game could clear all of the content on expert difficulty, maybe even more, like something like 8 to 10 heroes. But it's going to end up being less than that, at least for solo play. At least I think so. Anyway, deck's a lot of fun. I like it a lot. Not as much as I liked Star-Lord, though, because it is kind of a frustrating deck to play if you see Shadow of the Past go by as a boost card, or you get an early master plan that discards it or something like that. Then you know, oh, I gotta sit through a whole cycle of the encounter deck before I can get Shadow of the Past out. So a lot of time you just end up scooping and resetting at that point, and it's kind of a gimmicky and not intended way to play the game. But when you do get the Shadow of the Past early, then it's a lot of fun to just clown on scenarios that previously seemed punishing and frustrating to play at times. Anyway, these videos are intended to make the case for Vision being an S plus tier hero, because in other rankings that I've seen of Vision, that is not necessarily the case, and so I want to make a strong case for why that is my opinion on Vision. And so we'll at least do one more scenario, probably two. We'll do Magneto on expert difficulty, and then probably Ultron. I may want to try something like Heroic 3 or 4, if that's possible, for laughs. So, thank you for watching.